I'm Trevor.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Drew.
Each year, numerous amounts of animals are harvested by illegal means. This devastates hunters, wildlife watchers, and the whole ecosystem in general. The act of poaching can be done quickly and effortlessly, and this is why it's so hard to keep it under control. The act of poaching is done all around the world, and especially in the United States, to game animals that help manage our ecosystems. Poaching is unethical and disrupts our ecosystems. This is why I believe outdoorsmen and wildlife enthusiasts alike should establish more ways to prevent poaching. I will talk about how poaching is unethical and unfair to animals, how it disrupts the ecosystem and the natural food chain, and a plan on how to prevent poaching and why my plan will work. Poaching is unethical for many reasons. According to Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, poaching robs law-abiding hunters of game and fish and denies other outdoor enthusiasts the ability to enjoy scenery and mature wildlife populations. Poaching is unfair to more than just the hunters who are chasing trophy game each year. The taxpayers, organizations, and enthusiasts who pour money into wildlife habitat each year deserve to see the ecosystem flourish. The act of poaching is the most detrimental to the animals themselves. Yes, people who invest time and money are being hurt, but without the animals around us, we have nothing to fight for. Wildlife that is being hunted illegally undergoes what people call unfair chase. Unfair chase can involve anything from harvesting incorrect numbers, hunting out of season, or harvesting animals by illegal means. An article called Undercover Wildlife Operation Bags Poachers states violators in North Carolina and Georgia documented bear baiting, illegal use of dogs, and guided hunts on national lands without permits. All of these infractions fall under the category of unfair chase. Along with being unethical, the idea of unfair chase harms us in another way. It disrupts our ecosystem and the natural food chains. A quote by Peterson reinforces this statement. Poaching is an environmental threat because it can cause damage to the ecosystem, possible extinction of animals, and disruption of the food chain. Our ecosystem has a natural balance to it that allows plants and animals to grow and thrive as best as they can. These numbers are determined by scientists who know feeding habits and migration patterns of the animals in an ecosystem. Many years and dollars have gone into these calculations to give wildlife the best chance of survival. Due to poaching, these numbers become skewed and affect the way our ecosystem wants to work. With an unbalanced ecosystem, this affects everyone and everything from microscopic organisms to humans. Let's think of an example that starts with the overharvesting of a predator such as the coyote. With harvesting high numbers of coyotes, that will leave off higher numbers of, say, deer and rabbits. Having high numbers of these two populations can determine one of two things. They will be overpopulated on the land that they live on and overeat their food, or a disease will be widespread and cause mass extinction. So let's follow the path that they are healthy and overeat the food available. The food deer and rabbits like to eat are herbaceous foods, such as green and leafy organisms. These include corn and soybeans farmers grow for us each year. With animals of the ecosystem eating the food we grow to feed ourselves, what will we have each year to harvest and sell? This is just a quick example of what can happen when a species is overharvested and how it affects the natural food chain. Problems such as these need to be addressed and fixed. That is why I'm proposing outdoorsmen and wildlife enthusiasts establish random volunteer checkpoints to keep an eye for poachers. These volunteers will consist of anyone above the age of 18 who wants to go through training with a game fish and parks officer who is certified to convict poachers. The training process will be a 6-month program in which students will study and learn the lasting effects of poaching and how it damages our ecosystems. I feel like this will attract members of society because it will benefit more than just the hunters who want to harvest a trophy game each year. It will allow outdoor enthusiasts and concerned members of the community to keep our wildlife and food source in check. The program will be funded by donations, small government grants, and wildlife organizations who are trying to fight poachers from harming our ecosystem any further. The money will be put towards establishing checkpoints around the country, and anyone who completes and passes the 6-month training will be eligible to work for the designated checkpoint. Volunteer officials will have the power to convict poachers of any crime that they may commit. When the volunteers suspect and accuse anyone of poaching, it will be brought to higher officials to be tried and punishments will be given. I feel this plan will work for a few different reasons. First, the use of volunteers has been in effect with the establishment of the TIP hotline. The TIP hotline has convicted more than 3,500 cases in the United States, according to McSkimming and Berg. This shows that there are volunteers out in our community that want to prevent the crime around us. Secondly, it allows members of the community to take matters into their own hands. People of the community do not always trust the law, and they don't trust what the system does for us. This gives people a chance to step up and show others what needs to be done. Finally, those who enjoy the outdoors in general will want to join the volunteer force. Most forms of turning in poachers now involve just the hunters and the fishers, which limits the number of potential enforcers. Getting the opportunity to learn what poaching does for our society as a whole will bring more people from the community together. Today we talked about how poaching is unfair to society and animals alike, how it affects our ecosystem and the natural food chain. Then we wrapped up with talking about my proposition to stop poaching in our country. All of these reasons are why I believe outdoorsmen and wildlife enthusiasts alike should establish more ways to prevent poaching. I will leave you with a quote from "Continued poaching will result in the degradation of a fragile ecosystem. The loss of endangered species that poaching contributes to has a significant impact on the ecosystem in which these animals live. In the event of a complete species extinction, these effects pose a threat of being highly detrimental and irreversible."